jaw-dropping historical laws in the US. You won't believe these. Today, we're diving into a collection of bizarre and unbelievable laws that once graced the legal books of this great nation. Chapter 1. Don't cross me, I'm a chicken. Our first stop takes us to Gainesville, Georgia, a charming town known for its rich history and southern hospitality. But beyond its picturesque streets and friendly locales, Gainesville holds a peculiar place in the annals of legal history. You see, in this town, chickens were once subject to a law more restrictive than a coop on a Sunday morning. Yes, you heard that right. In Gainesville, it was illegal for chickens to cross the road. This wasn't just a whimsical joke or a punchline to a classic riddle. It was an actual law, enforced with the same seriousness as any other regulation. Gainesville officials decided that the best way to ensure that chickens stayed on their owner's property was to make it a crime for them to set foot on a public street. This might sound absurd today, but back then, it was a matter of serious concern. Imagine a courtroom scene where a lawyer stands up and says, "Your Honor, my client, Cluck Norris, was merely attempting to exercise his constitutional right to freedom of movement when he was apprehended by the Poultry Patrol." So, the next time you find yourself in Gainesville, take a moment to appreciate the town's quirky history. If you enjoy diving into crazy legal history, please like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps a young channel like ours grow, and you'll be supporting us in bringing more intriguing content your way. Chapter 2. Encyclopedias, too hot for Texas. In the Lone Star State, there was a time when owning a set of encyclopedias could land you in hot water. Yes, you heard that right. The very books that were meant to educate and enlighten became a source of controversy and legal trouble. Some enterprising Texans discovered a recipe for beer hidden within the pages of an encyclopedia. This wasn't just any beer recipe. It was a detailed guide that could turn any curious reader into a home brewing enthusiast. The state legislature decided to take action. They were concerned that this newfound knowledge could lead to widespread home brewing, which was illegal at the time. The lawmakers debated fiercely, weighing the pros and cons of allowing such information to be freely available. Instead of banning the recipe, they made it illegal to own an encyclopedia altogether. Imagine the shock and confusion among the citizens who suddenly found themselves in possession of contraband literature. Libraries had to lock away their encyclopedias, and families hid their cherished volumes in the most unusual places to avoid detection. "Honey, why are you hiding the encyclopedia in the piano?" This question echoed in many households as people scrambled to find creative hiding spots for their books. "Shh, dear, the encyclopedia police are on their way." The fear of a knock on the door from the so-called encyclopedia police was very real. The public reaction was mixed. Some people protested the ban, arguing that it was an overreach of government power. Others supported it, believing it was necessary to maintain law and order. Today, encyclopedias are freely available in Texas, and the idea of banning them seems almost laughable. But the story of the encyclopedia ban remains a fascinating chapter in the state's history. Chapter 3. Silence is golden, especially when you're eating soup. In New Jersey, the most egregious offense you could commit was slurping your soup in public. Such auditory delights were considered an affront to public decency. Imagine a world where soup kitchens were silent zones, where grandmothers were issued citations for their enthusiastic enjoyment of chicken noodle. Crazy, right? Chapter 4. Hold on to your bouquets because our next stop takes us to Mississippi, where the law dictated the color scheme of your wedding decorations. The only acceptable hues for celebrating a union were red, white, and blue. Imagine wedding planners doubling as color guards, brides walking down the aisle looking like the American flag, and groomsmen issued color swatches along with their boutonnieres. It's enough to make you want to elope to a black and white movie. Chapter 5. Our next stop takes us to North Carolina, where bingo became the unlikely target of legislative scrutiny. In North Carolina, there was a time when you could only play bingo for a maximum of 5 hours. The state legislature decided that even bingo needed to be regulated. "Those grannies are having too much fun," they must have exclaimed. "We need to regulate their bingo time before they start demanding lower prescription drug prices or better health care." Chapter 6. Our next stop takes us to Kansas, where enjoying an ice cream cone on Cherry Street was enough to land you in hot water. Imagine children forced to eat their ice cream out of bowls on Cherry Street. It's enough to make you want to scream for ice cream, but only if you're not on Cherry Street. Now here's a puzzler for you. Do you know why eating an ice cream cone on Cherry Street used to be illegal? It sounds absurd, right? Share your thoughts in the comments because I really don't get that one. Hold on to your dustpans, folks, because our next legal head scratcher takes us to Denver, Colorado, where lending your vacuum cleaner to your next-door neighbor was strictly prohibited. The sharing economy had its limits, and those limits were drawn at the power cord of your trusty vacuum cleaner. Imagine neighbors eyeing each other suspiciously over fences, their vacuum cleaners safely locked away. It's enough to make you want to invest in a good old-fashioned broom and dustpan. Chapter 8. Our next stop takes us to Wisconsin, where a law once dictated that laughter was strictly prohibited in public on Sundays. The only acceptable sound on a Sunday was the solemn drone of a church sermon. Imagine a world where children were scolded for giggling during Sunday brunch. Now, I don't know about you, but when someone tells me I can't do something, that's exactly when I want to do it the most. I'd probably end up serving 2 years behind bars just for trying to stifle a giggle. Definitely not the way to celebrate Sunday service. Chapter 9. Our next stop takes us to Vermont, where whistling in public on a Sunday was strictly prohibited. Imagine a world where birdsong was the only acceptable form of music on a Sunday. It's enough to make you want to hum a mournful tune, but only if it's below your breath. Chapter 10. Our final stop takes us to Carmel by the Sea, California, where wearing high heels without a permit could land you in hot water. Carmel, with its charming cobblestone streets, was home to some very litigious individuals. The city council decided to take action by making it illegal to wear high heels without a permit. Instead of fixing the sidewalks, they went for the sartorial solution. I would firmly oppose this law. I mean, let's be honest. Most guys appreciate a woman in heels. They add elegance and height, making a statement that's hard to ignore. So instead of banning them, why not encourage a little style? What's not to love about a classy pair of high heels? Well, there you have it, folks. A journey through the strange, the absurd, and the downright unbelievable laws that once graced the legal books of the United States. These laws, often forgotten and buried in the annals of history, offer a fascinating glimpse into the peculiarities of past societies. The long arm of the law can reach into some pretty strange places, enforcing rules that today might seem laughable or downright bizarre. Let's take a moment to appreciate the progress we've made and the peculiar journey that brought us here. Thank you for joining us on this whimsical ride through the past. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the strange corners of history.